toss me the thunder.
Every time.
Oral case, first advantage, second advantage.
Yep. Yep. Everybody ready? First, it's substantial, indefinite substantial, that indefinite detention legislation must comprise the entire population of the Guantanamo Bay and not just U.S. facilities. But to violation of the affirmative does not meet the definition of substantial to the law. Their plantation only affects U.S. citizens. Their only evidence says that the Obama administration is not actually detaining a U.S. citizen, but the perception is bad. This means the applicant does substantially increase restriction because there are not any citizens in detention in the status quo. This is key standard. It asserts the key standards of ground and limits. Sort of predicting we're not no substantial ground because it doesn't change anything for the majority of the inmates. And this is voter fairness education. Next is effects topicality. First, the violation of the applicant focuses solely on the public reception. Gain any solvency the applicant by itself doesn't constitute a restriction on presidential war powers. The mechanism with the applicant restricts executive powers solely to public reception. The applicant has to be received in a certain way by the public in order to have effectively restrict presidential war powers. And two, either the app is effective public can access solvency or the app is making an attempt to be on public reception. And three, be out of use is voting initiative because it enables the app to guarantee its own policy and destroys clash. And four, negative ground is key to testing and challenging the policy limitation mechanism of the affirmative. If the affirmative can PS policy, there will be no education in debate. This is key for voter for education and fairness. Go to the K. Security is the metaphysical foundation for all modern political arrangements. This is Dylan 96. Security statutes are political political measures defined by the reasons that the metaphysics is a self-security project for metaphysics is tradition and thought defined in terms of the equal security for security of consult for its understanding of truth and quest for security calls security and the value of modern understandings of political modern practices of politics have come to be put beyond question. And modern political relations are reduced to objects of calculation by the imperative to secure security. Calculation replaces valuation. This is Dylan 96. The reduction of benefits and also political understanding of calculation results from the variance of benefits will not because the appearance of things is variance whatever the secure benefits themselves. All that really is the very project of philosophy that is continuing and increasingly violent system on the need to secure security, hence its nihilism, the sabotage means nothing more. The instances of applied with the greatest defiance, selection of the insecurity and generally the ISIS of my investment is nihilistic as the best of the real spirit that is present because it does not matter what you secure, so long as security is self-secured. Security must not be remembering things that close with the political rhythm, security can operate. It must relentlessly also destroy values when they conflict with the fundamental methods that require the imperative to secure. And we identify three specific links to the affirmative. First is their daily and similar evidence claims about nuclear terrorists or who they call nuclear terrorists are incredibly inflated, and the fact that that's going to somehow lead to the destruction of the world. Second is their obsession with the U.S. legitimacy solely as means to security. The fact that they're using human rights merely as a means to get economic security and things like that provides the exact type of harm that our double evidence identifies. And third is the fact that they have a warming extension which is widely inflated. Okay, continuing. The economy's value created by technologization of political lab subject to political value and consequently devalue because death is the frame of reference within which these calculations operate. Any comparative devaluation and aspect of human is justifiable. This is Dylan 99. Other sensible self-essential always remains as inherent change in itself, the interaction with lack of ethics or interactive leadership comes from having no security for that which is self-manifestation, even needs self-degree, and next to college market sovereignty, rights, the other, and commensurability, minimal expendability, that it is the singularity of self-value, the social understanding of currency, the political rights of the United States, they trade involved in devastating the little fact that comes evaluation necessarily require calculation one strike calculate number of units and counter necessarily will not only two valuation but also of course the evaluation logically understand the point of counting this stuff, and there is nothing abstracted about this. The intention of counting value is the 0 point of the Holocaust. Counting out the evaluable may then lose the purchase online. And our alternatives to question security in order to put aside the system of technologically calculable objects. This is Dylan 96. The question which is that which is part of the question that which is part here today, that in which we are the ability for freedom thinking to all of our concerns the very thought of security and how to let ourselves in the struggle with development which is to have security that is this relation between security and security must be security that is not one of the question among many others. To embrace this question is to situate the right against the true values of the Western tradition, the very differentiation between thought and action. Next is the dissent. Afghan human rights norms are on the brink of falling apart because of Taliban gains. This is American Foreign Policy, September 17th. The U.S. Human Rights Chief said on this example of the growing evidence of sharp personal human rights, especially for women, despite more than a decade of international intervention and millions of dollars a day. I have serious concern for the human rights situation in the countries and hearing civil society activists. I think they feel that the gains in the last 12 years are vulnerable and reverse Afghanistan to embrace self to ensure that the cultural system will take place before the end of 2015. Do not ensure serious security human rights. The threat to Afghanistan was under when the senior police won the Taliban doesn't have that ever being shot by assassins. One time for apprentices will also go down. And the U.S. is currently trying to negotiate with the Taliban, but the Taliban won't come to the table. This is Jah on 14th of September. State Department for Social and Mary Hopkins members will work on right now as we call the Taliban to come to the table. table talking to everything about peace and reconciliation. She explained that, you know, this is difficult, we're not here, we're very clear about it, but you don't have the luxury of negotiating with your friends. You have to negotiate peace with your neighbors, that's what we're focused on right now. That's it. We will continue. You can mark the card there. And the Taliban will negotiate as soon as the affirmative releases the Taliban prisoners currently held. This is Trofimov, 2012. In situations that the jails were part of the Missouri exchange back to the discussions necessary for peace talks to proceed. The Taliban last week said that they were suspending negotiations with the U.S. accused in Washington of the political transfer of commitments to the Congress separate the Taliban city. Her mission to open a Taliban office in the exchange by the Canadian Western Alliance by the first two steps required to establish countries with the parties back of the main Taliban negotiators held talks with the U.S. and Germany, Gulf and Emirate of the Taliban once the establishment of the Islamic regime and mark record there. And at the negotiating table, Americans will cede control of Afghanistan to the Taliban. This is Hussein, 2013. The American Senate of the Taliban said the Taliban's power in Afghanistan, talk to them, accommodate them, their demands are banning assets like cars. I think you're looking at the trial solution being played out as a Pakistan military official. And the Taliban engaged in the worst forms of dehumanization. This is MENA in 2010. My brother used to tell me used to come to our house, there was a crap on their side of the house, and how did they use the trains who were supposed to were children by children? They were used for these activities because they were too young to know any better. I used to see the children getting on a vehicle to go to the missions. My father and brother told me care on the suicide attack. I said to them, what about all the people I they started beating me when I refused to beat. They beat me non-stop. They made my life a hell. I never had a single moment of happiness. They did everything other than tell me, you will, people will come up with this one and believe that we use a large amount of explosives that no one even know it was a man or a woman. You can mark that card there. And dehumanization is the biggest impact in the round. This is Burundi, 97. The dehumanization they handed to them were instructed to start appearing from that more like them in a natural economy. Special to David of College, Legend of Fabric, Civilized Society, Gun Replacement, Human Genocide, and Holocaust, like 18 can stop behind them inside of vegans and dissidents. Dehumanization through war, environmental, the natural genocide, when people become things, they become dispensable. And next is case. First is on their terror advantage. The representation of terror is found in the dichotomy between good and evil. This discourse is the precondition for endless violence against another. This is Kellner, 2007. Even as it turns out, all the latest status in the world of the biblical superhero stands up for the West. Men help marshals for those who feel here for the West. Media help produce mythology, those who are here for the evil, destroy the evil, totalize and absolute selling, and making it into contradictions of the logic where we are forced to do this and we are forced to do such a discourse legitimate any action, everything in the name of good, no matter how struggle on the ground with this is attacking evil. Terrorism being the threatening force of savagery, democracy's troubled empire, and trying Harrison's ruling courts undermines the legal system that turns the app by increasing government's ability for biological control. This is Bill Steen, 08. Houston, the Bishop ruling saying that terrorists upon the bank and challenge the federal court said, Roman system protecting civil independence and revenge prosecution in the war by lawyer stated for conditioning the rules for admissible evidence to make judges, way judges, and prosecutors to deal with federal crimes. Repress counsel is adopting eventually rules to deal with them could effectively change the standard of the ordinary cases, but ordinary crimes, ordinary crimes of law versus the USA. Pictures have been used in unrelated prosecutions such as child robbers, and onto leadership. 9 concludes soft power is not going to be able to influence other countries. This is 9, 2008. Even when policy communication such as with the soft power resources and information is difficult, government communication is only a small factor of the communication of society that uses much information subject having concluded the benefits to the inevitable market forces to care of the country's culture. And there's no impact of warming. Acid data proves this is Taylor, 2011. Necessarily data from the 2011 showed the average Earth atmosphere is for more heat releases space in the water from thermal are predicted, but the world data won't show that carbon dioxide emissions are emissions new acid terrace like data are consistent with long-term no and acid having negative atmospheric humidity and serious clouds are not increasing objective necessarily data reported in peer-reviewed scientific control show a huge discrepancy between almost all climate models and real-world facts. And soft power is useless because U.S. security policies that ruin U.S. reputation. This is Lane in 2010. Obama's response to soft power was first on the evidence sense of the self-rule against public in the United States, whether favorable or not, according to those governments of Kevin giving other people's wishes of it, deciding to talk about the necessity and opportunity of business, sharing, between himself, equally public countries, people who are telling things have been one choice, in the words where Obama invested heavily, overshoes of listen more than the state. Harris elected responding to use person who understands the concerns of spring, as to every place responded with nothing more than suspicion and hostility. Every time they have a smile on their face, they're hiding a dagger behind their back. Mark that card there. Additionally, the harms of the anti-affirmative are going to be able to solve back through the critique, because in a world we're able to embrace alternatives, think back, we're going to be able to resolve those kind of harms and pursue human rights for the right reasons rather than just as a means to it.
All right, before we start can we get the T-shells you read?
Yep.
Yeah. The T-shells and the other stuff you read.
Yeah,
You just
'cause-
flashed us the K.
Really?
Yes, it's just the K and the DA that I have.
That stuff should be in there.
It's not.
It's not?
No, it's not.
Can we just edit down, please?
It's only the
Alright, there's a cross X.
Yep.
Okay, so what is the condition of your off-case argument?
Conditional.
Okay. So, what in the on the K? So, what exactly is allowed in the world of the negative?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, like what would a post-alt world look like?
Sure. So in the world of the alternative, we don't engage in the kind of like threat construction that the affirmative does, in which we constitute, people as like these existential threats to humanity, which then allows us to justify like extreme forms of violence against them. We don't construct the environment as like inevitably going to kill us like any day, and so that we don't engage in kind of like destructive tendencies towards it.
Okay. And on your, I think this was on the case, talking about good versus evil, that constructing in a way. So how exactly do we frame it as a good versus evil?
Right. So like in a world where you say like, the people you identify as terrorists, right, are like going to acquire a nuclear weapon and end civilization, right? Like, one, that's probably unlikely because like that's pretty, messed up to think that there's just people out there who want to kill everyone. And two, that probably characterizes them as like the antithesis of humanity, right? Like if those people are trying to kill literally everyone, according to you, like then, that would probably be the definition of like an evil person, right? And that's the kind of logic that's justified us doing
is
that.
it possible that it's not necessarily good versus evil, it's just harm versus not harm?
Right, so we're, like, the whole premise, right, is that, like, you are conflating this threat. Like, there are no individuals out there who are trying to get nuclear weapons to end the world, right? That is not a real thing, right? The more likely story is, like...
Wait, why is that not real?
Because, one, I think we'll be able to debate the warrants of that out, first of all. And second, it's not real because, there are no individuals that just want to, like, end humanity,
just
right?
none whatsoever.
No, like, that is not...
There are
Like,
people
you
who want their
identify a group of people
Did you
as
watch the
terrorists,
Batman movie?
right?
Bane wants to end the world.
Who?
There are people
Bane
with
wants to
political
end the world.
objectives.
Wait, we have evidence that says that nuclear terrorism is very probable. Do you ever answer that?
Right, so we are indicting the logic of that claim.
With what?
So you can look to the evidence on the critique, that's the Dillon evidence. You can also look at the way you construct, the people you refer to as terrorists, right? That indicts the logic that those kind of authors engage in, right?
The fact that you have to have an indict of the Mueller, no, nuclear terrorism actually is real, his warrant's wrong, this is why we need to stop it, is an example of that.
Yeah, so instead of reading the Mueller evidence, we're kind of which we reserve the right to do still, but actually contesting you on the original logic of why this is, why you feel the need to continually justify these extreme scenarios.
Okay, we'll take about 3 minutes.